What is up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. What a way to close out the week. I don't know what happened yesterday, who got together with who to figure this out, because it was a pretty big day in announcements for gaming. There was so much stuff happening. Several big AAA games get announced. One we were basically, we knew it was going to happen. And then another one that was a little surprising, and then we get the Nintendo Direct that throws out what probably was the biggest announcement of the day that sent people screaming in all directions. It was a pretty fun day in games yesterday. Almost felt like a mini E3, really, if you step back and look at it. So we're going to have quite a few things to go over here. It might end up being a little bit of a longer news wave, but so much stuff happened, we can't help it, right? So let's just get into it. So we're going to start right away with the Nintendo Direct. This took place at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and it was roughly 30 to 35 minutes. They actually went over, I think, because I think it finished at like 5:34, so it was longer than I thought it would be. Usually when I hear them say 30-ish minutes, I usually think, okay, it's probably going to be like, 27, 28 minutes or something. They went over, and that's a good thing, because the last thing they showed really helped everything for this Direct come together. There was a kind of a part, I think, in there where it was kind of low, and then that really peaked up at the end. We're going to get to that, though. We're going to go over all the announcements, all the release dates. Here we go. We're going to start with the 3DS. That's basically what they started the entire presentation with. They showed WarioWare Gold, that's August 3rd. Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers, May 24th, eShop only. Mario and Luigi Inside Story, Bowser Jr.'s Journey. 2019 is the only year they really gave us no actual release date there. Detective Pikachu, of course, we know is March 23rd. And then the most interesting thing I personally think they showed was a remake of Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube on the 3DS that is simply stated as 2018. And honestly, out of the group of 3DS games, they got through it in about 6 minutes. They rifled through it pretty quick. Nothing massive there, I don't think, right? No major thing, no Zelda, no Mario or anything. We did get Luigi's Mansion. I think that's a really cool announcement. I kind of would have liked to have seen that on the Switch, although we don't really know what their plans are for Virtual Console, and it could include GameCube games, which could include, in this case, a Luigi's Mansion. So maybe they're thinking along the lines of, okay, we're not going to remake it there because the GameCube version is coming over. We don't know that for sure, but that at least explains why we might not be seeing that there. Either way, the 3DS lineup is a little smaller, nothing really heavy hitting there, but hey, WarioWare and Luigi's Mansion being remade for the 3DS is pretty interesting to see, because I like the original Luigi's Mansion, and while I'm not really playing the 3DS much after the Switch has come out, because I've said it before, the screen is so hard for me to go back to after seeing how much better looking the screen on the Switch is when you're playing it in handheld mode. But either way, there you go. A couple of games there for the 3DS to kind of keep it alive. Apparently going all the way through 2019 now with the Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. But the very large portion of the Direct was, of course, centered around, well, the Switch. That's what we'd expect it to be around, right? I didn't think the 3DS was going to take up half, and then the Switch gets the other half. It went according to plan, I think, here. Almost 30 minutes was dedicated to the Nintendo Switch, and they actually had a very large third-party presence here, which is good because, the Wii U had that issue where there wasn't a lot of third-party support as it went along. The Switch seems to be ramping up third-party now after the first year, something that the Wii U did the opposite of, where it started with a bunch of third-party support and then started to kind of ramp down. So let's just get into the Direct here for the Switch and go over the games announced, or even just kind of, in this case, more information was given with release dates. So we're going to start, of course, with Kirby Star Allies. There is a free character update that's going to be coming, and this, of course, comes out March 28th is when these start, and then, of course, the Kirby Star Allies is coming out next week. That's Friday. But they're going to add in characters, animals, and stuff from the previous Kirby games, which is really cool, including Rick from Kirby Dream Land 2. So they're adding in a bunch of free updates there. Very cool to see. Quickly moving into Okami HD Summer 2018. Let me tell you something. If you have not played Okami, you might as well pick it up. It's an awesome game. Even if you picked it up, played it on the PS2, pretty cool to see it come over to the Switch with touch function. That's great. Touch functionality is added here. Makes a lot of sense for kind of the paintbrush effect that they have. Sushi Striker, The Way of Sushido, is June 8th, also on the 3DS there. Octopath Traveler, July 13th. We're going to come back to that one. That's one I want to talk about at the end. Of course, the demo is out now. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, still a 2018 date. We did see gameplay for that. It was kind of interesting looking from an isometric kind of view there. Dark Souls Remaster, of course, May 25th. It did get a pretty interesting amiibo that I think people are going to be really excited about. Mario Tennis Aces got a ton of information. We're going to come back to that one as well, with basically a beta, essentially, a tournament being planned at some point. June 22nd on that one. Those Amazon leaks appeared to be correct. Interesting. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, July 13th. That's also on the 3DS. Undertale, which was kind of one out of left field, sometime. We're actually going to touch on Undertale as well, because it's going to be a part of news, another piece of news later on in the show, but Undertale some point, eventually, in this case, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. We kind of knew this was a timed exclusive. This just cemented it, because it is coming pretty much a month after the June release on the calendar from last year for the PlayStation. Of course, the entire year of exclusivity has to be used up, and then this comes the month after that exclusivity is run up. That's also going to the PC and the Xbox One. They revealed that in a multi-platform trailer after this direct happened, so you can get it on pretty much everything July 10th. Little Nightmares, we heard about that as well from a LinkedIn post, the complete edition, May 18th, and the Pac-Man amiibo will also have functionality in that game. South Park, The Fractured But Whole, will show up on the Switch April 24th. DLC Packs 1 and 2, April 24th, will also be there. And then DLC Pack 3 will be sometime later in the year. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition got a May 18th release date. ARMS, apparently is getting a new tournament. A full global test bunch is also showing up, and that's all taking place in March 18th, and then March 31st. Splatoon 2 was shown, and this almost felt like it was going to be the end of the entire direct, and I noticed that in the chat, people were a little disappointed. They said, oh, we're going to close out with Splatoon 2. Okay, well, Splatoon 2 is getting version 3.0. That's coming late April. 100 plus new pieces of gear, 3 new stages, which is pretty neat there. Rank X, which is higher than Rank S. And then they showed off their first paid DLC, Octo Expansion. It's a campaign with a playable Octoling that they showed that's usable in multiplayer. That's summer 2018 for $19.99, so a $20 purchase price there. And you can also pre-order now on the eShop. Well, they're going to have a purchase ahead of time, essentially, for this bit of DLC, and you get Octo headgear and clothes. So I told you we were kind of winding down. A lot of people are a little disappointed at the direct, saying, okay, nothing big, nothing like massive, right? Nothing like not like a Metroid Prime 4 when that got announced. Well, then they say we have one more thing. They cut to the Inklings running around. People figure, oh, something else was Splatoon. That's fine. And it goes dark. They turn around, and the pupil lights up with none other than the Super Smash Bros. Symbol. Massive thing on fire. They show a silhouette of Mario, and then they show a silhouette of Breath of the Wild Link. So it has some people talking there. Of course, that means that the Inklings are going to be a part of Smash Bros., the new one. The title they showed is very interesting because it kind of still leaves the question, is this a brand new Smash Bros. Game? Or is this the Wii U kind of moved over as a deluxe edition? I'm starting to think it's kind of a mixture of both, right? It's a mixture of the two. I think they're still going to use the Wii U engine because it worked well enough and it was a good game overall, but then they're going to basically add a new coat of paint, add a bunch more features, levels, probably a single player, and of course more characters that I'm sure will get announced. I would love to see Crash Bandicoot get added here. I think it's time. Crash is now on the Switch. Activision, I'm sure, would be more than happy to include their character in there, and they'll pick up their own royalties and everything. But I think at this point, it's time for Crash to make the jump over. You know, get the parking lot level in there from when Crash was outside of Nintendo with the megaphone. Either way, Super Smash Bros. Is coming in 2018. They hit us with that year, so it's coming out this year. More than likely holiday. I'm thinking maybe a November release, right? That at least makes sense. Maybe in early December. I could see November, though, showing up. And there's going to be a lot of questions surrounding Super Smash Bros., and that's definitely being shown at E3. Big announcement. Over 6 million sold on the Wii U, so I would expect a lot of sales on the Switch. And honestly, this might be that last little push off the ledge to get some Wii U owners to get rid of their Wii U and honestly turn on a Switch and start playing that instead, especially for Smash. Seems like Mario Maker is the last big thing that's going to be keeping people on the Wii U, and I kind of expect them to get rid of that reason as well when they do bring a Mario Maker over to the Switch, probably at E3. So the big announcements, I think I really liked Octopath Traveler. I think that's going to be awesome. What a great release window in the summer, in July, and they showed a really nice looking special edition that I'm probably going to get. It has like a pop-up book and everything, and it's pretty neat. I do like some of these special editions, and honestly, I played the demo, love this game, so I am definitely getting this Japanese RPG from Square, and it looks like they apparently listened to a lot of feedback here. I like to hear that. Because I think there were some things they could have made better in that game, and it sounds like they've been listening. So this looks like it's going to be a great RPG. Crash, of course, a big get. South Park, another big get. We're seeing, like I said, third parties jump on board here. Mario Tennis seemed to turn a lot of people off. I feel like they were trying to add too much to what should just be a very polished tennis experience. When they started showing all of the things where you break your opponent's racket as an instant KO and all this stuff, I was like, I really just liked the GameCube version. And if you could mix the Game Boy single player, where it's almost like an RPG, with the GameCube mechanics, I think you have something there. They showed the online. Yes, it will have online multiplayer. Don't worry there. And they did say you can turn all of that off and just have a more traditional tennis experience, which is what I want. I'm picking that up absolutely when it comes out June 22nd. I'll be there day one because I just like the Mario Tennis games, and honestly, the Wii U one was absolutely dreadful. So I hope this one just turns out to be much better there. Give me something closer to the GameCube version, I'll at least be happy. So hey guys, let me know what you think about the Nintendo Direct here. I think there was a lot to be happy about here, and they weren't going to give us everything. That's the thing. People were thinking this was going to be Metroid, and they're going to show Pokemon and Fire Emblem, and it's like, look, E3 is 3 months away. People need to remember this. I think in this case, Nintendo is saving some stuff for the show, as is Microsoft and Sony. The same reason Sony isn't announcing everything right now, or even in April or something. They're holding off until E3. So I'm really looking forward to E3, because if this is what they just randomly show us, what are we seeing at E3? I feel like we might get our first look at Pokemon, at Fire Emblem, and maybe Metroid. That sounds like a stacked show there, and that's just the stuff we know about. Now, we were missing some stuff from this Direct, absolutely. No idea what's going on with Wolfenstein 2. I thought we'd see gameplay footage, a release date, something. It's telling me more and more that game is falling into the holiday season, maybe fall of 2018. And where in the world is Yoshi? What is going on with this game? Is this not a summer release then? Is this falling again to the holiday season? Not that that's a bad thing, because they kind of just bolstered their next 3 months. Maybe it's something that shows up in, maybe it's an August release. I don't know. We're going to have to see, but I was a little disappointed, a little surprised even, to see nothing about Yoshi and nothing about Wolfenstein 2. Next up, the other big announcement for the day came from Activision, and that is for Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 is real. We kind of knew about Call of Duty. Look, Call of Duty comes out every year, right? Well, we kind of figured this was going to be Black Ops 4 because it was Treyarch's turn, and they seem hooked on Black Ops. It's a name that sells games, so I get it. They showed this interesting live stream where they were cutting out the 4 lines, essentially. It's so weird to be doing that. Give us a 4, give us a Roman numeral. Nope, we're just going to give you 4 slashes, and hey, that's 4. So there you go. I guess that's the way they wanted to go with it, but we did at least get release dates. They are jumping well out in front of the competition here, well out in front of Red Dead Redemption, and probably out in front of Battlefield. It's coming October 12th. That is way early. That's about a month early than usual, and they're going to have an entire community event as well taking place in May. So there's a lot to like here. They're going to have a big, really, in this case, a community event that's going to show off this game. We had that with WW2, right, where they had like a big live stream and everything. This one's taking place May 17th, and then they'll show probably more at E3 to get us ready for an earlier than usual release. Shows you how much power Rockstar has over the consumer, over other companies, that they are planning their releases around Red Dead Redemption 2, because honestly, when that comes out, it's going to be a week, or month even, that's all about Red Dead, and you know what, I get it. It's a popular game, and it's going to sell really well. Could take sales away from others if these games release too close to it. Also, currently, Black Ops 4 is listed for the PC, the Xbox One, and the PS4. No Switch version. I know there's a lot of people out there who are saying you might see it for the Switch. Doesn't look like it right now. I said this before, if it's going to get anything, if the Switch gets anything, it's probably getting a remake of something like Modern Warfare 2. I like Modern Warfare 2. I don't mind that getting a remake there. And that's probably a quick and easy port to do. considering it was on the 360, the PS3. They could probably move it over pretty easily without too much sacrificing. In fact, they'll probably raise the resolution and everything, keep a very steady 60 that way. And honestly, it's something they can kind of get done on short notice, because these Call of Duties generally are in production for 3 years, even more sometimes, depending on the amount of research they're doing and everything. So in this case, I get why it's not there for the Switch. I would just be more than surprised, we'll say that it doesn't see any Call of Duty this year. I'm thinking it'll just get its own spin-off or its own remake in this case. And no, the announcements did not stop there. This was actually, the next one coming up is the first announcement of the day. This came from Ubisoft. The Division 2 is going to be showcased at E3 2018. They just basically came out and said, hey, Division 2, it's happening. We're going to share a ton of info on it at, in this case, well, E3, because that's the big trade show here to do. And we should be looking for it sometime this year, 2018. But if you're a fan of the original Division, I think since that came out, Ubisoft has had a lot of experience with their games as a service, things that are always online, mirror closer to what an MMORPG is, in this case just with a third-person shooter. And I think it'll be better than the first one. I honestly do think Ubisoft learned from that first game, and this could be interesting. If you're a fan of The Division, I would just keep an eye out at E3. I'm sure it'll be like the big centerpiece on Ubisoft's stage. And you know what? I actually liked The Division, the first one. I had some fun with it. I think there were some problems. I know Evan played it as well a lot on the PC. So I'll be at least curious about the second one to see what they can come up with and how they can kind of expand that world into a sequel. And then from there, what is probably the hottest game right now, whether it's on Twitch, on the PlayStation, on Xbox, with Fortnite, it's super popular right now. Everyone's playing it, and everyone's really enjoying the Battle Royale style and the heavily optimized really game engine, where they just released a 60 frames per second patch for the PS4 and the Xbox One, and it's really taking advantage of really what PUBG has kind of left, which is and get an optimized Battle Royale system. Something, again, PUBG has just struggled with mightily here. Epic Games is, of course, taken over with, I think at this point, Fortnite is going to take over PUBG, and they put a pretty big announcement out there because they're going to be targeting a very large audience that I think is really going to like this, and it also kind of opens the door to all those Switch rumors we heard before. They're going to mobile platforms. They're going to tablets and they're going to cell phones. This right here was placed directly on their news page on Epic Games saying, hey, Fortnite community, Fortnite Battle Royale is coming to mobile devices on phones and tablets. Fortnite is the same 100-player game you know from PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Mac. Same gameplay, same map, same content, same weekly updates. Starting Monday, you can sign up for the invite event on iOS. Support for Android will be coming in the next few months. Now, I'm not really sure how well this is going to work on mobile. I assume they've tested it a lot, but touchscreen and these kind of games don't really mix, I don't think. Of course, you could probably use a controller separately, but I mean, the whole point of a cell phone is that you're out and about and you decide, oh, I'll play some Battle Royale, 100-man Battle Royale on Fortnite. And we'll see how well it works to a degree. I'm also curious if they'll get any kind of cross-play going on there with phones, or they'll keep phones and tablets their own thing. That, believe it or not, could actually become one of the largest communities out of all the systems that Fortnite is on, simply because of how large that player base is with phones. We've seen it all the time, how much money, Clash of Clans, Candy Crush Saga, all these companies make an obscene amount of money on cell phones. Fortnite knows that, and they're going for it. Now, if they're moving it, in this case, to mobile hardware, why wouldn't they move it to the Switch? That's what a lot of people are asking right now. And honestly, don't be surprised if it shows up on the Switch later this year. I think that's what a lot of people are throwing around right now, and you probably see that, to be honest. It'll probably show up later on this year, as we've been hearing in rumors, and it wouldn't surprise me. So keep an eye on that. I mean, this is Epic Games, by the way, we're talking about, the creators of Unreal and everything, and well, they've worked with the Switch already, so don't be surprised if you see it show up. We've heard rumors of it showing up in August, and at this point, with them wanting to move to every single thing they can to expand that Fortnite player base, yeah, don't be shocked. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Game Maker Studio 2, because it is now getting Switch support. In fact, you'll be able to export games from that and then make them compatible with the Switch relatively easily. They've signed a deal with Nintendo now, and the creator of Undertale, that we saw Undertale at the Nintendo Direct event, is actually going to be using the Game Maker Studio 2 to make this happen. You also have things like Hyper Light Drifter, and then of course any other games people decide to create through there, maybe put on Steam. It should be pretty easy if they really want to get it on the Switch. This just shows Nintendo is very, very interested in indie games. This is something that is very smart on their behalf to do because, well, let's face it here, indies have drastically helped the Switch in times where it would have normally been a slow period. Indie games come out 6, 7, 8 at a time during a week. It's crazy. They just keep popping up, and it keeps giving people new things to play when they're on the go, or just new experiences in general. It's almost like the Nintendo eShop is turning into what Steam was before it just got 30 to 40 games a day to where these things would get buried. I think that's why a lot of these indie games are selling better on the Switch, because they're not getting buried like they do on Steam. And so many of these developers are talking about becoming Switch-bound in this case, and there you go, Game Maker Studio 2 making that jump, signing the deal so that it can export directly to the Switch is a big move, and I think we'll see more and more indie games go to the Switch. So if you're enjoying the indie library on that system right now, get ready, because it's just another tool to help these indie developers get their games on the Switch. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, guys. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below about everything we talked about today. Maybe you want to get a little more in depth with the Nintendo Direct. Maybe you want to explain how excited you are about Smash. If you have your own theories about it, that is the biggest talking point yesterday and today is all about Smash. Is it a new Smash Bros? Is it going to be a port of the Wii U like a deluxe edition? Is it a mixture of the two, using that engine to get it done faster, but adding a ton of new content, a new coat of paint, if you will, with a full single player and everything? I need to know what you guys think about that. What was your favorite game from the Direct? Are you excited about some of the dates? Things like, in this case, Octopath Traveler is probably my favorite one right now, having a summer release when a lot of games generally don't release. Maybe you're excited for Crash because you missed it on the PlayStation. Maybe you're even excited that it's coming to PC, in this case, or Xbox, because you don't really play a lot of stuff on the Switch, but hey, on the PC, that's going to run really well. It'll definitely cruise past that 30 frames per second lock that was on the PlayStation, and will definitely be on the other systems as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.